Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the smallest giant mouse. That sounds weird to say. I finally get a custom Knife Factory Evo in hand, thanks to Lefty EDC. And man alive, is it gorgeous? I'll share that here with you. And then we're going to take a look at favorite guilty pleasure knives. These are knives that you bought knowing you weren't going to use probably, or knives that are way too expensive, but you just had to have, you know what a guilty pleasure is, whatever form it takes. I have three of them here. I have a whole bunch of them here, but three that I'm going to qualify as that tonight, which we'll talk about and show off. And also, I have an open knife giveaway. I've been blessed by such generous viewers as Dave, This Old Sword Blade Reviews. He has gifted so many knives to this channel. And I'm really appreciative, and I'm here to pass along the savings to you. I'm here to pass along my good fortune to you. And he gave me two Sun knives recently to give away, and man, they are cool. And I am only now just getting to giving them away. I've had them for about a month, but there's a whole box of knives that he gave me that will be given away. And I think, as we do one Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway a month, we will do a giveaway an open giveaway once every month. Hey, Dave, how's it going, sir? Good to have you here. We will do one open giveaway every month of one of these really high value knives that Dave has sent along. Blade Ogre, good to see you here. Chris, here, let me just show you real quick. This is a little teaser of what we're going to be giving away later. This thing is really beautiful. This is the Tucson. Hey, 9198 David, good to have you here, sir. This is the TS38 by Tucson Knives. That's D2 steel and really nicely layered, sculpted, contoured, and milled layered G10 there, black and blue. You've got very nicely weight relieved liners. A really cool American Tanto blade with that awesome clip up top and that nice swedge up top as well. Just a really nice looking knife, really nice performing knife, and it will be some lucky winners tonight. All you'll have to do is in the comments put #knife, and it will enter you into the auto drawing. Weston Probst, what up? How you doing, sir? This is a knife we're giving away tonight. It's an open giveaway. We'll be doing that in a little while. We'll do a pocket check and some other important stuff like that. Top Dog 8762, guilty knife. Maybe all of them that I own. I know that's true. Like they're all except for that Swiss Army knife that you use all the time. They are luxury items, but once you embrace that, that's cool. Some people collect sneakers. I don't know what they call them exactly. Shoes. Some people collect sneakers. Some people collect cars, guns. All of us are guilty of poor financial decisions from time to time due to our enthusiasm. But, it's part of what makes us interesting. Gary, good to have you here. He says, hi, Bob. Gary, good to have you. I'm wondering what you're carrying. Keith, the Knife Freak, how's it going, sir? Keith has an awesome Instagram. You got to follow him. He's great. And he is also the gentleman who sent me one of my most hallowed blades, the Dolica. What is up with you, sir? Never Enough Knives 007. Good to have you here. Hope all you junkies are having a fantastic, knife-tastic Thursday. I like what you did with the language there, sir. Dion Page, good to have you here, Dion. Hello, knife friends, he says. Well, hello right back at you, sir. On the Edge 72. Hey, Bob and Jim. Happy Thursday Night Knives. And he says, cheers. And cheers to you. And even though it's water, it's not bad luck. I'm not French. Cheers. Sinister Knife, good to have you here. You got to check out Sinister Knife also on IG and his IG on Instagram and his various workings with Demco knives. He's been doing some really cool aftermarket modifications of Demco blades that have just been killer. Love what you're doing, man. K Mason, good to have you here, K Mason. He's a recent member of the Gentleman Junkie of the Patreon group. And speaking of which, we have a new gentleman junkie this week, and you've seen him popping up in the comments recently, Grim Reaper. And it's always funny saying, Grim Reaper, good to see you, good to have you with us. But it is indeed good to have this Grim Reaper here with us. Always great in the comments, and now helping to support the show. Many in a monetary way, that is. Many thanks to you, Grim Reaper, sir. Thank you very much. Kevin Moore, good to see you here. I like your new avatar. Good to see you. And I assume you're getting your Hawaiian shirt ready for tomorrow. Evening, Bob and Jim, he says. Well, stinking hackers stole my Instagram, but they can't steal my time with you fine folks. I love to hear that, sir. But, man, I hate to hear that someone... That's right. I remember seeing your posts. That's so ridiculous. My God. What... I don't know, flabbergasted. Unless they're practicing for taking down some terrorist target, and they just happen to be working on you. Sorry to hear that. Okay. First of all, he says, "Hey everyone," and I say, "Hey," right back to you. But it's PhD. I'll say SZT PhD. SZT SZT PhD. Nice to be here, he says Keith the Knife Freak. Keith Freak. I shortened his name, and that doesn't sound as good. It almost sounds like derogatory. Dion Page says Killer Tanto. I agree. A Killer Tanto even is what I agree with more. It also has a really nice backspacer. I know there are a lot of cool things about this knife, but it has a really great backspacer and slanted back for your thumb that I really like. Ketmuk Neshart, howdy, Bob and Jim. Howdy, Ketmuk. Ketmuk's been out in the wild, posting pictures of fish he's been catching and eating for lunch. Man alive, living the dream out there. Sinister Knife says, #knife, that's slick. All right, well, we know at least one gentleman or lady out there is interested in the Tucson TS38 donated to the channel by this old sword Blade Reviews, who, if you haven't checked out his channel, you are remiss, sir or madam, and do it right away. He's got an amazing collection and a great take on knives. And Conway, good to have you here, sir. Had to divert knife funds to go dog vet. Oh, yeah, to dog vet funds. But Pooch is healing and laying beside me, watching another Thursday Night Knives. Oh, Poochie, if I were there, I'd be rubbing you right behind the ears saying, it's okay, buddy boy. It's okay. And, well, it's good to have you here with us. And, of course, family and pets come first, for sure. Kay Mason and Conway, pets are family, he says. Indeed, sharing the same sentiment. Hollywood Tactical, good to see you here, sir. Got 2 Zoom meetings in a row. Catch up later. Those Zoom meetings, man, making everyone obsolete. Yeah. Well, they did me this week anyway. Hollywood Tactical, good luck with those meetings. I hope they are indeed useful meetings. Jared Strasbaugh, winner of last week's Gentleman Junkie Knife giveaway. Jared, your knife is on the wing. I sent it today, or was that yesterday? I believe I sent you the tracking number, but it's on its way. Jared, he says, good evening, Bob and Jim, fellow knife junkies. And he won the Red Dawn edition of not this knife, but a version of this knife with that blade called the Enforcer EDC. It's got a slightly larger blade. It's an off-grid knife. I figured after all the preaching for off-grid knives I've been doing, I should give one away. So I gave one away last week to a lucky gentleman junkie winner, who was Jared. Pixel Jedi, good to have you here. Good evening, Bobby D. He says, well, good evening to you, sir. Sinister Knife says, tomorrow I'll be trying to put a handle on my knife. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, man. I mean, I think you got the hard part done. You designed a very unique and cool and useful, at least looking at this point, profile. And that's the hard part. You cut it out of steel. You got it ready to go. The handle, I think it's going to go well. Let me put it that way. Good luck to you, though, sir. In any case, if you want to join the conversation, come on here for a few minutes or for however long you want. Come on, go to the knifejunkie.com/join, aim the camera right at you, and we talk. Yeah, having a little bit of internet trouble, but that's all right. That doesn't mean I don't just keep talking. I just talk anyway, man. All right. So for now, I'm going to take this tonight's giveaway knife, this TS38. Knife will be here tomorrow, just in time for my vacation. Nice vacation carry for sure. Says Jared. Jared, I hope you have a wonderful vacation. I'd ask you where you're going, but there are always people listening. The hills have ears, so I hope you have a wonderful trip, sir, and a safe one at that. Enjoy the carry. I'm going to put this away. By the way, this is a night morning design. I know that means a lot to a lot of you, Tucson folk. I know that he designs a lot of knives for Tucson, and they are cool. But I don't know his style in particular. But for those of you who do, this is one of them. Richard Burns, good to have you here, sir. I bought an off-grid knife this week, the Viper. Oh, that's like a recurve Tonto, but the recurves on the front. Viper, right? I love their knives. They are absolute cardboard slayers, cleavers, slippers between the moleculars. Uh, those things are my favorite cardboard cutting knives. Basically, all versions of them. The fixed blade ones are a little bit thicker and a little bit thicker behind the edge, so maybe not as fun to break down cardboard with. But all of the folders I have of theirs, and I have almost all of them, they're excellent, especially the Cayman and the Cleaver. Right on. All right, so let's get to a pocket check. I was carrying an interesting carry today, and all clip points today. All clip points. I had 3 clip points on me today, all very different, but clip points nonetheless. Okay, what was my main carry? My front right pocket carry was today the Microtech SOCOM Bravo. Beautiful, beautiful knife. This is a little piece of pocket sculpture, the way I see it, because I use it for very little. It really is. Well, one might say, well, Bob, you kind of use a lot of your knives for very little, and you would probably be pretty accurate with that. But this one seems even more in the pocket jewelry, pocket sculpture division or category for me, just because it's a little bit more ornate than I tend to go these days. Lots of notes to this design. You've got a fuller, you've got little enhancements around the fuller. Lots of billboarding. Microtech, I love Microtech billboarding. They're like the one. They're the one who's billboarding. I'm disappointed when I don't see. Well, except on a nice polished Marfione custom blade. Anyway, back to this. You've got the pivot collar that's anodized. You've got titanium bolsters, and then carbon fiber, and all this sculpting on the back, which is awesome. All this milling in this titanium backspacer really does give it a great grip, and it's very evocative of their milling in aluminum, which is always sharp and feels great as grip and jimping. So a little bit more ornate, a bit of pocket jewelry, but I really dig this knife. I would have really liked it in Tonto also, but I have a SOCOM Elite in Tonto, so I decided to try that clip point. So this was my main carry today. Oh, by the way, I didn't really open it and close it much. The action is, uncomfortably smooth. It's ridiculously smooth. It's suspicious, raises suspicion. I'm always constantly checking the pivot to see if it's loose, or checking and nope, it's just smooth. Keith the Knife Freak says, I should be getting 2 knives back from Jack Farmboy. He did an anno on my Rockwall and Spartan Harzy. I'm excited. First of all, I don't know Jack Farmboy, so I got to check him out. And an anno on both of those. Beautiful. I have a plain Jane Rockwall and a plain Jane Spartan Harzy. Actually, the Spartan Harzy has my logo, so it's not so plain Jane anymore, but would benefit beautifully from anodizing. So I like the way that sounds. Thank you, David. 9198. David suggests that you smash that like button. I also suggest you do. It's like using your blinker. It doesn't take much effort, but it's very helpful. So I would appreciate it. Thank you, sir, very much. Dion Page says Voyager XL clip point and a Zula 2 and a Swiss Army knife SD, standard definition. SD. All right. For some reason, it's going away, but I love both of the other carries. The Voyager XL. I got the Voyager XL drop point recently. Love it. Used it all weekend in the back. Keith, I carried my TRM Neutron and a Chuck Richards mini pry. These pry bars are interesting. I've noticed that Lefty has been into fidget stuff recently, which I also find interesting. These knife adjacent gizmos. I thought the fidget stuff went the way of the spinner, but it has not. It's evolved and it's gotten very sculptural and expensive and titanium. And Pixel Jedi was carrying the Yojumbo, the 945, which I always like way better than the 940, right? Excuse me. And the Wii pry bar. The 945 is the clip point version, or is that the short version? Either way, I like it better than the regular 940. Also on me today, Sinister Knife carried his 3V carbon fiber and tie standoffs 20.5, going to attempt a swedge on it tomorrow as well. Man, I applaud your adventurous creative spirit, because it's not easy to take one of these things that we love so much that we pay good money for and then put it to a grinder. You can mess it up, but you mess it up and you just end up fixing a problem you weren't expecting and creating a knife shape you weren't expecting. That's probably better than what you were going for. That happens so much. That's the happy accident in creation. Wow. That sounded a little Bob Ross. So right here was the other folder I was carrying today. This is the Petrified Fish Victor. And man, I love this thing. It's really nice. Dave just put up a review of his. He got both the green and black and the blue and silver. And I had to get the blue because denim micarta. I love denim. I'm not like a denim collector, a guy who doesn't wash his jeans and buys them from Japan, kind of like denim. I just like denim. And I love the idea of denim micarta. And this denim micarta, or the denim micarta that I experienced on the Beluga, was just so beautiful that I wanted to have that. Even though the green and black looks so cool on this blade shape, I had to get this, and I'm happy I did, because this blue is just nice to look at. I love this blue. I love the way it feels. And the action on this, again, just suspiciously smooth, just so smooth that it bounces against the stop pin, just very smooth. And the ergonomics on this are outstanding. This is a contoured linen micarta handle, and you can see the cutaways, and they look like they might not be comfortable, but they really, really are. And then over here, this is a K110 blade, so that's analogous to D2. And on this side, the offside, the clip side, you see that milled out pocket just for your Spidey flick or your middle finger flick. Or if you're a lefty, you can thumb roll it or thumb flick it. Yes, you can. It just goes over here in that slot and you use those holes. And yes, it is. No excuse these days, at this point. Talking to Kerry of Off Grid Knives, he was like, yeah, every new knife, once I have to reorder everything, every new knife is coming with countersunk screws and pocketed clips, so you're not running into that thing that everyone's bitching about. I love that. I love it how something like that catches on. Everyone kind of at once is like, yeah, I like the deep carry and I like the fold over, but this other aspect's a real pain in the ass. And then people start complaining, and people, oh, okay, got it. And they want to sell knives to us, people. So it's good that we speak up. Blade Ogre, okay, this is always good. Carried the ProTech Brend 3. I love that knife. The Spartan Palace. like Athena. The SOG Seal XR Bowie, awesome knife. That XR is their bar lock, and that SOG Seal XR is excellent. They do a really good job with their XR lock now. Their earlier, when they first came out with it, it was a little wonky. At least the one I have is an early one, Terminus, and it's a little wonky. Red Horse Hellraiser. Oh yeah, the Freeman 451. Oh, okay. 451 neck knife. I don't know that one. I was thinking of the Freeman folder. The Vero Fulcrum Pry Bar, the DPX Heat Hiker, and the Bark River PSK in Magna Cut. I'm not sure which one the PSK, Survival Knife something. Okay, that's crazy. That is a nice setup, man. That is a nice setup. All right, so I hear from Jim. We've got 42 watching, and only 17 of you want this knife. If you've just tuned in and you don't know about it, if you put in #knife in the comments, you are automatically entered into a drawing, in which we will choose the winner of this Tucson TS38 in D2 and layered, sculpted and contoured G10. You've got bearings in there. You've got a really nice American style Tonto blade with a clip on top, kind of like a Bowie. And then you've got that beautiful swedge. Just a very nice grind on this knife. You've got a black pocket clip for discreet carry and great action. So #knife in the comment puts you in the running automatically. This knife comes to me courtesy of This Old Sword Blade Reviews. Thank you, Dave. Mike Flamian also always has a great carry. Shirogorov Quantum Randall model number 14. So nice. And the neck knife and keychain knife. And so the neck knife is the Spyderco Arc, and the keychain knife is was that a Spartan? It's a Swiss Army knife of some sort. I like that. So soon you're going to be like the folder, the big one, the small one, and the real small one. I'll be like, oh yeah, I know which one you're carrying. But the 14, I'm always impressed that Sir Flamian always has his model 14 on him. So cool. Dave says today's rotation: Lion Steel LE1 Karambit in Magna Cut, Ernest Emerson design, the Best Tech Exploit, and Petrified Fish Victor in blue micarta and satin K110 blade. So nice. Love that knife. Love that knife, but also love the look of that Emerson / Lion Steel collaboration. Great. I mean, it seems like a match made in heaven. I held and experienced the knife for myself at Blade Show, and really liked it, and was desperately searching for a reason not to try and buy it. And I found one, and it works for me. But I've seen a number of videos now. I saw Neve and Dave, and I think Metal all did. And I'm just sitting there drooling. It's a thing of beauty. That knife is so beautiful. That new Emerson Karambit collaboration with Lion Steel. So nice. If you have the means, I highly recommend you pick one up. Richard Burns says, a Buck Metro every day on my key ring. Metro. Anybody else remember this little blade? No, I do not. The Buck Metro. All right, well, we'll have to check that out and find out what the Buck Metro is. But it's cool. It's on your keychain. I love those kind of knives, like the things that you get attached to, you forget are there, and then a couple of years later, you're going into the junk drawer to use that knife for the millionth time, and you pull it out, and you appreciate it in that moment. And for me, that's a Ruger. Let's see, it's a CRKT made Ruger knives lurch folder. It's pretty sweet. 9198 David said, my carry today was my Spyderco PM2 in 10V. That is cool. Petrified Fish 818, don't know what that is, in D2, and the Azula in S35VN. 10V. What are the attributes of 10V? Is that super tough? or is that the opposite? I'm assuming it's one of those two. 3V, I as I understand it, is very tough. So I'm wondering if 10V is like that much more. And one problem with the petrified fish that I really love, or it's not a problem that I love, it's a problem that I don't love, but is starting to change, I think, is the numbering thing. Like, this is the Victor. I love that. It also has a number. The Beluga is the Beluga. It also has a number, but everyone knows it as the Beluga. So uh, petrified fish has been kind of half and half, I think, with the numbers. And I think now they're trending more towards the names. Does that sound right to anyone out there who knows more about petrified fish? Oh, I do remember that. My wife has one of those, actually. And hers was anodized mauve. And someone that she used to work with gave it to her. And I thought he was coming on to her by giving it to her. And then I realized if he were coming on to her, he would have given her something better than that. I should say, and not to impugn that very awesome keychain knife, especially one that means a lot to you. But when you're being defensive, you'll lash out in any sort of way. Top Dog 8762 says, I have zero interest in fidgets. My knives are my fidgets. Me too, Top Dog. I'm with you on that. Someone left a comment. I think it was on one of my videos, or maybe it was on this show. I don't remember. It was a comment a long time ago, and someone said they were talking about that movie Inception, where the city folds over on itself and all that. I don't remember much about it because I'm quite sure I wasn't exactly sober when I watched it, or probably awake because I tend to fall asleep during movies. But they all had some sort of thing that held them to the actual physical real world, something tangible that they would hold and that would take them back, or keep them grounded in reality. It was a tangible thing to keep them grounded in reality. I think someone had a pocket watch, someone else had something else, but someone left a comment saying, if I were in that situation, of course it would be a knife. And yes, what a perfect tool to keep you grounded in reality, in a lot of ways, both metaphorically, both in a metaphoric kind of way, or in a very literal way. It'll keep you grounded, because if you're not grounded and you're being absent-minded, you will eventually cut yourself. Anyway, Gary says, carried my PM2 in Maximet. I saw that. That sounds awesome. I'm ever since last week when I got all excited about the new Military 2 coming out, which I still want to get. Now I'm kind of looking at Spyderco's. I haven't looked at Spyderco's in a long time, And Knife Center has a new exclusive out. What is it? S90V and Burlap Micarta on the Shaman. And that sounds like an awesome combination to me. Jay McConnell, good to see you here, sir. Evening all, he said. Ooh, had a VSEP and a layback jack. I have my VSEP out tonight, just coincidentally. Love this thing. I can't remember which version it is. This is not the original clip. The original clip was the spoon clip. So what does that put me at version-wise? I love this thing. It's so soft. Jay, I got this out tonight, and then I also got this out. This was the original Rockwall, the first collaboration they did, ProTech did with Les George, probably about six or so years back, before they did the SBR and the smaller Les George knives. And this thing is a basic 1-to-1. I mean, close anyway. Love both of these knives. What a great design the VSEP is, and almost the simpler the better for me. I don't know if that's just because that's how I discovered it, and I'm frozen in time like I am in the 90s when I discovered my fashion, or if it's because it's genuinely just looks better like this. I love these big chamfers, especially around the cutout at the lock bar. Hey, we have Shane. Hello, beautiful people, he says. Shane, you yourself are a beautiful person, so it is great to have you here with us. My last little bit of carry. Hero Sticks, how are you, sir, today? Today's carry was the new Big Berg Blades Iron Wolf in brown micarta and black PVD. and oh god, and the Brian Brown chunk in the same setup, a tidy pair. Hero, the Iron Wolf was the one folder, like expensive folder that I almost bought at Blade Show and was kind of like, I think I need to not get this. And it happened to be a wise choice at that moment. Like I've mentioned before, I didn't walk in the door with a huge wad of cash this year. I just wasn't thinking that way before the show. Kind of wish I was, but it worked out fine. But that was one of the ones that really tempted me to maybe I'll put this one on credit, and I didn't. And but nice carry, Hero, and yes, yeah, we'll talk. All right. So lastly was my neck knife. This was the Fred Perrin mid-tech neck knife that I got from him, the man himself, at Blade Show. This is wickedly thin and sharp. This thing is a really great little utility knife. It's been used only and a lot for opening food packages. And it's, I got to say, it's food packages. And actually, I have not sharpened a pencil with this, but this will be ideal for pencil sharpening because it's nice and small, nice and thin, and super sharp. And you can get a great angle on the wood. I'm betting I'll be able to get a great angle on the wood with this. Pencil sharpening, food prep, and opening food packages are some of the things I do most with my cutlery. Little embarrassed to say, but hey, I'm a domesticated suburban man, so I look for opportunities, but these are the opportunities that arise the most. And this thing is an unzipper of materials, so really, really, really great little knife. All right, I'm going to give it 5 more minutes, and then we're going to give away this knife. So if you're watching and you're interested in just getting a free Tucson knife, enter into the comments. Just put #knife. And if you win, I will send this to you. So how this works is Jim feeds all the #knife comments into a StreamYard. We're on the StreamYard platform. A StreamYard native sort of random generator, and we do it right here. When we do the Thursday Night Knives, we do it a different way. So it's fun just to give stuff away. Kepmuk says, carried a Bear Forest Knives GT EDC, the Eldris, a Bug Out an M390. That sounds nice. A Swiss Army Knife Forester, and a TJ Schwartz Overland. Ooh, very nice. My first Magna Cut blade. I love the Overland. And TJ Schwartz has been doing these custom Overlands in his shop. He got you can kind of go back through his Instagram and see the voyage he was on to get CNC. He has a CNC mill, and that was a big deal getting that. And he's been producing his Overland design fixed blade. That's so cool in different iterations. A very nice choice there, sir. Max the Maker. Max, good to have you here. Part 1, I had my PM2 CRKT Razzlecliffe and Swiss Army Knife Huntsman on me for work this morning. Part 2, after lunch, I took the Razzlecliffe out of my pocket to lighten the load for a bike ride. On the bike ride, I used my PM2 to cut some rope to fix a problem on my bike. Love that. Max always has a sort of a detailed rundown of how he's used his knives. And oftentimes they're in more interesting ways than myself. Shane carried his Medford Smooth Criminal today. That is a cool knife. A cool knife and a good name, Weston Probst, also a cool name. I can't decide which Victor to get, so it will have to be both. It's funny, when I got this, and I did a little unboxing video, Dave commented, "Ooh, I like that." And I said, "Dave, I just have this feeling you may have ordered both of them already." And lo and behold, he has not only a great collection, but a good variety within the knives, like knives that he really likes. He gets different iterations of, which I think is cool, because it is, especially if you're doing reviews for people to sort of help them decide what they're going to purchase, it is a nice thing to offer people a view of both. So well done there, sir. James Moore, good to have you here, James. Speaking of classy individuals, hello. What was I? Hello, everyone. Oh, yes, I was talking about Dave. Hello, everyone. Got my Shirogorov F3 NS custom division with me right now. So the custom divisions, Shirogorovs, I know they get more attention, obviously, but don't they have a different different bearings, like a different setup? Are they roller bearings or multi-row something? Let me know. K Mason says, carried the Demco 80 20.5 with 3V and black grivery. Very nice. Thinking of some aftermarket scales and standoffs. Yes, I think that's a great idea. I have this one, and I don't want to change anything about it. For sentimental reasons, it's kind of silly, but I just don't. But having, I had jocks, or still have. I just boxed that up. I box hero stuff. Boxing up a bunch of stuff I'm going to be sending out, and one of them was the titanium and 3V exclusive from Knife Center that Jock Bot had sent to me to check out, and now I'm going to send it to him. And just the feel of this 20.5 with the heavier handle scales, oh man, it does make a huge difference. And so I look forward to seeing how you tweakify and change your black grivery and 3V 80. Maybe I should, looking at this thing and always complaining about the blade shape. Maybe I have Sinister Knife redo the blade, or Transparent Blades redo the blade. But the thing is, I don't want to redo the blade. I'm gonna live with this ugly blade because I like it. It's got charm. It's like ET. It's like ET ugly. You know, after a while, it's kind of cute. Blame Dexter says, "Hey, Blame Dexter, good to have you with us here, sir. Carried my Ted Grizzlar today. TED Grizzlar today. And I bought aviators. I swear it wasn't influenced by Top Gun." Yeah, sure. Aviators are just the best glasses, best looking glasses. I've been wearing these American Optics or optical aviators for years because a friend of mine in college had a pair. I thought they were cool. He had an extra pair, gave them to me. I've been wearing that same pair ever since, and then a new pair also. But those things are awesome, square aviators, and they really cut down on glare and stuff. But you can't, you don't want polarized, because if you end up flying a propeller plane, I guess it jacks with your vision. Just incidentally, I happen to just know that from past weekend when I myself went flying and saw Top Gun. I wasn't flying myself, but I was in the front of a biplane. It was so cool. Anyway, Keith says, ProTech is the industry leader in doing pocket clips. Fight me. Well, okay. I mean, this is random, Keith. This is like, but I'll take you up on that. I mean, I happen to have two Pro here, and I adore their pocket clips, but they're really nothing I haven't seen on an Emerson or an old Benchmade. So is this something on one of the fancy new ProTechs that I don't have? And by that I mean, oh God, there are so many ProTechs I want, but especially the Terzuola. I want the Terzuola so badly. And they made some of the most beautiful versions of it recently that it's just unfair. They're so gorgeous. But Keith, yeah, I will agree. These are great clips, but why this and not an Emerson? Just curious. I note a resounding silence. Nothing to say, huh? No, I'm just kidding. Blade Ogre says, not sure what the PSK means with the Bark River PSK. I'm betting it's something survival knife. Maybe. Blame Dexter says, personal survival knife. Hey, see? Personal survival knife. That works. And I got from what you were saying that it's small, so that makes sense for a personal survival knife. I've been carrying my Umnums on for a few weeks now, so my carry hasn't changed. That's on the edge. That's really cool. I admire that. I remember when who was doing that? John was doing that along and it was with a Umnumzan or maybe it was a Sebenza Tanto. But I respected the effort. I respected the thing, the challenge, but not for me. Here's mine. Love this thing. Carried the Bestech Swordfish, a cool knife. That was the first Bestech I think I was ever aware of. The Swordfish, the BMG Custom from my design, very nice. Lightning clip point out the front, okay. A guilty pleasure knife for me. And Swiss Army knife Tinker. Awesome. All right. Okay, so you reminded me of the guilty pleasure theme. Before we get to that, we're doing this. We're doing it. Let's just do this. Let's give this knife away. If you missed out, you missed out. It's hashtag knife. You have 1 minute. And in that 1 minute, I will take a look at that comment you just had up, Jim. So this is the knife right here. This is the Tucson TS38 on bearings. That's D2 blade steel, an Americanized clip point Tonto. That's right, Americanized clip point Tonto. Very handsome knife design here with a really nice swedge. That is the blade, of course. As you move backward, you will see a nicely contoured, layered black and blue G10 handle that is not only contoured in this direction, but it is sculpted and milled into with these different texturized trenches that not only give it a great feel and traction in the hand, but also a great look. You have a black clip for discretion and a little cant here to accommodate most pockets. You've got a small and discreet flipper tab and excellent bearing action. All right, that is, in a nutshell, the TS38. It's a night-morning design, and it could be all yours just by entering hashtag knife. All right, Jim. Let her rip, sir. Okay. And we are Chris McNair. Chris McNair has won. Chris McNair has won the TS38. So, Jim, how many was that out of? How many did Chris McNair beat? But for a while, it was only 17 people, but that looked like more than 17. So do let me know, sir. So, okay, Chris McNair, you have won. I'm going to jot this down so's to remember. Chris McNair, he's the gentleman that I traded my riffle for the CJRB Scoria. I've been very happy with that trade. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your support. All right, so we are talking tonight about guilty pleasure knives. Excuse me, Jeremy Nedro. Good to have you here, Jeremy. I just got the case Marilla in Magna Cut. How is it? Let me know. I've been eyeing up those case, the case folders, not the traditional case folders, but let me know how it is. I am curious. Zen Ali, good to have you here, Zen. Boker Plus Primate, GEC Micarta Dixie Stockman. Very nice. Is that new, or is that the Dixie Stockman from like 2018 or something like that? Did they just recycle that? I'm curious. Mesa Wolf 22, good to have you here, Mesa Wolf. Good evening, Bob and all. Just picked up a Sandstorm K. Saw your review on that one as well. Hashtag knife. That is a cool one. I busted out my Sandstorm K today and had it out on the table for tonight. What a great knife this is. It is big. I find myself not carrying it as much as I thought I would. And this is a jeans knife for me. It's got to be jeans. And I don't wear skinny jeans. I am not of that generation, so I don't have to worry about that. This would probably be too much in skinny jeans unless they were 4-way stretch. And then that's just yoga pants, right? The Buck Metro is one from the New York Times article. That's what it was, about dangerous knives that led to knife rights. Wow, Ketmuk, thank you. That's right. that little stinking knife that led to the birth of knife rights. And the funny thing is, in talking with Doug Ritter about that, he suspected that that was an inside job, that someone was really actually, like an editor or someone was really trying to point out the absurdity of the position of knife laws and indeed of the newspaper in supporting those kind of knife laws, and then using that tiny little keychain knife as their example of this big boogeyman, dangerous kind of knife. So 37. Thanks, Jim. Got it. So funny. Thank you, Ketmuk, for reminding us all of that. Big Staff, 8/19. Does that mean August of 2019? Something big happened in August of 2019. Or is your birthday on August 19th, 2 days after mine, in which I'd have to say, hello, Leo brother. How are you? What's up, everyone? Thank you for the constant, awesome content, Bob. We appreciate you greatly. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you greatly. Thanks for watching and showing up and participating. It means a lot. Jose Gonzalez, good to have you here, Jose. He had the Gerber Sumo, the Leatherman Micra, and the Victorinox Recruit. I love the Recruit. That's a classic. I have a Recruit. That Recruit went with me twice to Bolivia as my one knife on those 2 trips. Guilty Pleasure Knife, Best Tech Fairchild in satin and gold tie by Kambu. That is a nice knife. That is a really cool knife. It's named after and inspired by the by a water plane made by Fairchild. Fairchild was the company that first designed, I believe, and headed up the Warthog, A-10 Warthog, in the 70s when they first started making them. I believe Fairchild was the company. But yeah, I think that's a cool thing. I love how it's like JC, I'm sorry, Casey, naming his company and his knives after cars and planes. I think it's cool how people are inspired. Mark N, good to have you here, Mark N. Been a while. Hello, all, he says. Well, Mark, great to have you back. And let us know what you're carrying today. And also let us know what your favorite guilty pleasure knife is. Hero Stick says, I'll send you the Wolf to check out for sure. It's a winner. And then I'll have to buy it. Then I will have to, I shouldn't put it that way. Then I will have to acquire it. But the blade on that is such a nice, like it's pushing. It almost looks like a Tonto, but it's very definitely a clip point. But it's got a straight, and then it's got a belly that it's almost got an abrupt belly, and I like it. It's just pushing towards Tonto. Shane says, I've been looking into a few different seal loadouts, and they all seem to prefer Gibbon fixed blades. Gibbon. Oh, Gibbon. I was thinking Hibben, like Gil Hibben. I was like, how is that possible? Gibbon. Sorry, Hibben. So you're right. So what Gil Hibben knives do they prefer? Because the reason, unless it's not Gil Hibben, I think Gil Hibben's son now makes knives, or has been making knives. Gil Hibben, of course, he's still alive, but no longer making knives. But he made he designed the Rambo 3 knife and made the Rambo 3 knife. And then he made a whole bunch of cool non-fantasy knives, a couple of which were featured in Natural Born Killers. The knife, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but when the lead character throws a knife into a guy's back and you slowly follow the knife, that's a Gil Hibben Bowie. He made a really cool dagger. And so I'm surprised, because those are all big, heavy hilted, big fat recurve. Like I got to know which Hibben you're talking about. It's very interesting. Michael Morgan says, define guilty pleasure knife. Okay, I will do that. I will do that right now. Well, here's a very obvious one. This is a guilty pleasure knife right here. This is the Espada XXL, I think, or the Espada XL from Cold Steel. That's only 7.5 inches of blade length, nice long clip point blade. This is an older one, so it's AUS 8 and nicely thinly hollow ground. So this is, and then it's got this long, it's got these polished aluminum bolsters, you know, a long G10 polished G10 handle with all these different grips for fighting and killing. That's what this is for. This is, I mean, yeah, you could take this out and bushwhack with it, but obviously that's not. So this is a guilty pleasure because it is not only a tool for something I'm never going to use it for, hopefully, God willing, and the creek don't rise, but also it was expensive and it's big, you know, so it's guilty pleasure. Now, luckily, this particular guilty pleasure was a gift by my brother, an amazing and generous person. But I also bought one myself in G10, and that is also a guilty pleasure because it's a knife. I mean, I could really try to need it, but there's pretty much no way that I need that. So this is one of the guilty pleasure knives I brought out, and I never plan on getting rid of it, believe me. But it's a guilty pleasure because, you know, basically this equals money that's tied up, not that much money, but it equals money that's tied up in this thing that's not getting used. Whereas if it were money, it could get used. Then again, what would get you? Buy some sushi and then be lost and forgotten forever after that moment of enjoyment. Or it could be in the shape of a navaja, all modern like this. Chris McNair says, hashtag knife. Hey, Bob and Jim. Happy Thursday night knives on the beach in Tahoe with the family. Just checking in. Chris McNair, man. Well, you won the knife, and you won the evening too, sir, sitting on the beach in Tahoe with your family. That is killer. White River Knives M1 backpacker for limes. For limes. Very nice. For your beverage. And a pair of 3 lightweight for hiking. Very nice, Chris. Have a wonderful, wonderful, happy, awesome time with your family and soaking up all of that nature and all of that beach. And this is coming to you from a basement right outside DC. So think of that. Think about that when you're digging your toes into the wet sand. All righty, sir. Thanks for joining us and have a great night. James Moore says, generally the Shiro custom divisions have single row roller bearings. And Sergey's customs have multi-row roller bearings. So I'm not sure. So yours is a custom division. Oh, and okay. So when the man himself makes one, he uses multi-row roller bearings. And am I correct that they are actually like rolling pins, little micro rolling pins arrayed like radiating out from the center to give them that roll? Yoda Doug, good to have you here. Yoda Doug's tool collecting channel says favorite guilty pleasure knife, easy Sniper Blade Works LPC. Hey everyone. Hey man, good to have you here. Yes, all those Sniper Blade Works knives, they are cool. And the LPC has the cool, they both have that cool pistol grip. I like the pistol grip on all those knives. Carried the QSP Penguin on a middle collectible Rinja Warncliffe style knives. Well, Mark N, I'm going to jump ahead in this little conversation to the state of the collection to show you my QSP Penguin, a knife that I finally got. Now, this was a reward for just being a great guy, being a good dad. No, actually, what happened was I was on Amazon and I was getting my daughter all of these things for her birthday, and I was considering whether she deserved them. And, you know, I decided yes, but I also decided maybe I deserved this, which had been just lurking pathetically in my bin, in my Amazon cart for, I don't know, 2 years or something. The price had changed a million times and, you know, it's been dropped and put back in. And it was just sitting there all forlorn. Like, are you going to do anything about me or not? And if not, just let me go. He was saying, let me go. So I didn't. I just said, no, you're mine. And I dropped him in along with all of the sticker packets and marker pens and trippy lights and stuff my daughter wanted for her room and stuff. This came to me. And of course, the QSP Penguin, as I had learned from you guys for the last 2.5 years, is a great knife. And at this point, so many people know it that QSP has created it. It has created so many iterations of this knife. You really have your choice. You can get it with much higher end steel with a titanium frame lock. You can get it in brass and copper. You can get it with all sorts of different G10 and micartas. But this denim micarta, this is the first knife I ever saw denim micarta on and was always fascinated. And so I had to go for that, especially since I'm in the midst of my love affair with this more flashy denim micarta. Wouldn't be the first time I had a love affair with a pair of jeans. Here, QSP Penguin. Really cool knife. Glad I finally got it. I'm wondering what I'm going to do with it. This is a knife that it seems needs to be stationed somewhere. This is not a right pocket carry knife for me. It's too small for that. It's a little too big for a back pocket carry for me. So that means it's a station knife. That means it goes somewhere like a junk drawer, or maybe this lives on my dresser. You know, my EDC little dresser thing is always, the cast members are always changing, but I like to always at least have one in there. Maybe that's what this, maybe this is just the dedicated dresser knife. Who doesn't need a dedicated dresser knife? You know, just to keep the ones, you know, kind of like the innkeeper for the other ones that come in on a daily basis and come and go. James Moore says, can't beat the pocket clips on recent Sharp by Design customs. So, James, Brian does sort of a sculpted wire clip, not wire, but like a sculpted spring clip. Doesn't like his clips have the feel of a spring clip, but are sculpted. I don't know if that makes any sense. Clip on the Newport is perfect. So, okay, I was being semi-facetious when showing the Emerson type clips, because I know that they have moved on since this, but I'm interested now. I got to get me one of them. I just do, in reverse Tonto, as if that exists. Chris Reeve Knives pocket clips. I agree. I like the 2-stage clip. Also, Microtech does that on this knife here, the Ultratech. And then they also give you a lot of space for your big tactical dark pants right here. You know, where they have the big, you know, we all have them. And this fits over easily. The ramps over that and then accommodates those big fat pocket seams right here. This is a cool knife. And soon I'll be able to carry it legally. Okay, here's the deal. I shouldn't say that anymore. Here's the deal. Come on, man. I got a real hot nut for a knife and I can't buy it. I tried to buy it today. I'm getting ready for July 1st here in Virginia, where I'm going to be able to legally carry and out the front. And there's one that I've been lusting over for a while. And now they have it at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And I went to buy it. And wouldn't you know, I just could not complete the purchase. And I was like, they know I live in Virginia. Yeah. So yeah, there is a knife, the Manticore X. That's the big Manticore by Heretic. Out the front, recurve. Oh, and there I go. I just gave the secret. I just told someone out there who's been looking for the same knife. There it is. It's over there at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Please let it be there till July 1st. And if it's there past July 1st, you can have it. Yoda Doug says, Bob, I'll send you $450 right now for that Zahn, and you can get the Terzuola ProTech. Huh. No, thank you. I this is a keeper. This is a long haul keeper. But now that I can carry that ProTech, geez, that's quite an offer. And I thank you. I thank you for your generosity. King Snake Jake, good evening, Mr. DeMarco. Well, good evening to you, Mr. Jake. Great to have you here, King Snake Jake. Always a pleasure. Yoda Doug says, thank Tops. Oh, thank this old sword for the giveaway. Yes, you can thank this old sword for many giveaways. He's given us so many knives, and it's so appreciated because I get double duty out of them. I get to give them away and I get to check them out. And frequently I'll make movies. I'll make movies about them. I'll make videos about them. And so I'm really appreciative of that for sure. Chris McNair says, what? So awesome, Bob. Thanks so much. Hey, you are welcome, sir. I'm not sure if you saw it or if you can see it from your awesome location, but this is what you won, sir. It's a pretty damn cool little Tonto. So there you go. Congratulations, sir. Pixel Jedi says, my guilty pleasure blade, Best Tech Hornet. Oh, that is a cool blade. That's the one. It's got a flat edge, but it's got a real extreme spine, right? It's got a deep thumb swell, and then it comes up and then it comes down real dramatically to a tip. That is a cool looking knife, the Hornet. Jeremy Nedro, good to have you here, Jeremy. I love the Marilla. It's very impressive for case. Okay, so I think that's the one that I was just looking at absentmindedly before. I have a stack of knife magazines over here that I grabbed at Blade Show, and I sort of had forgotten about them until before we started rolling. I was flipping through it, and I saw a case, and they now make it. I think originally it was just a Tonto. Now they make it in a drop point. Is that correct? Blade Stuff, late to the party. What's up, knife peeps? Blade Stuff, good to have you here. Sinister Knife says, my guilty pleasure knives are my VC Edge interface, Timascus 20.5, and the Dem Bowie. Ooh, very nice. But wait, what's the VC Edge interface? That one I don't know. VC Edge. I know someone will mention it, say what it is, and it'll be like, oh, yeah, of course. Chris McNair says, thanks, junkies. Glad I checked in. My family thinks I'm crazy for watching. This gives me a little credibility, just a little credibility. Yeah. They're like, we're on a beach, honey. We're on a beach. He's in a basement, honey. 9198 David says 10V is an extremely high wear resistant tool steel. Love this stuff. Guilty pleasure. Oh, well, that's cool, right? Because you don't need 10V, but sure nice to have 10V. Zen Ali says, I've carried a Recruit for years. Yeah, that's a great, and I love that size too. Perfect little, it's kind of like the medium size. A10 Thunderbolt 2. Ah, yes. Oh, in the Fairchild days, A10 Thunderbolt 2, because the Thunderbolt 1 was a World War II ground attack plane and close air support plane. Actually, my 8th grade, he was kind of 6th grade too, but my 8th grade history teacher was a very old guy, very cool guy, and he was he did the briefings for a squadron of those over in Germany during World War II, and he showed us all of these. He made about an hour-long film from all the gun camera footage, and he showed us every year. It was like a thing. My brother had him, and then 4 years later I had him, and it was like, wait till you see the gun camera footage, because oh man, it was amazing. Black and white footage, they press the triggers and the camera goes on and then stays on for another 10 seconds or so you can survey the damage on these old fighter planes. And it was just not video, but film after film of shooting down enemy German enemy planes or strafing targets on the ground. Crazy stuff. Anyway, the Thunderbolt 1. Never Enough Knives 007 says, packing for a 5-day fishing trip. Oh, that's always hard, man. What do I bring? And trying to decide on what blades to take. I think I've settled on my JK Handmade Knives Kephart. Obviously a good choice for a fishing trip or for outdoors, with orange G10. That's great. So in case you drop it. Off-Grid Grizzly, great choice. And the Cayman EDC, also a great choice. And the Mora Eldra. This all is very solid. You got the Kephart with orange G10. Great. That's like your all-arounder. The off-grid Grizzly for all of your cooking needs. The Cayman EDC for everything that comes up. And then the Mora Eldris, that's your backup around your neck. I think that's a pretty good. The one thing you're missing is something ridiculous and large, but maybe you don't need that. Just maybe. Favorite guilty pleasure knife, hands down, no contest. Artisan Mini Proponent. Those proponents are just cool. I should get a big brass one just and call it, it's a dedicated desk knife. Yeah, you have like 45 of those. But it's like not something I'd want to carry, but I love that design. And like you say, or kind of imply, Zen, is that there's an audacity to the design that is part of what makes it a guilty pleasure. K Mason says guilty pleasure equals Spyderco Bob Lum Darn Dow 10.6-inch fixed blade. Oh, whoa. I know which one you're talking about. Nice. Those Bob Lum, I mean, he made the Tontos, but this is not those Tontos are sweet too. But this, I know what you're talking about. That's a sweet knife, man. Blade, but call that an investment and not a guilty pleasure. Blade Boy SFV. Good to have you here, Blade Boy SFV. Hey, yo, all, he says. Well, right back at you, sir. Been a minute. Hope all is good with everyone. Today, an 8015 and an 80 20.5 3V. Topps Title Force. Guilty pleasure. Title Force. Which one is that? Topps has so many models, but I love it. If it's a guilty pleasure knife and it's from Topps, no doubt it's big and gnarly. Interesting that you carried 2 Demcos today, but I'll let you slide this time. Just kidding, of course. FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies. Good to have you here. Great name. Carry knife, North Arms Skaha. Guilty pleasure knife, Kevin John T95. Don't know what that is. Kevin John. I'll have to look that up. Kevin John. Okay. Let's see. Michael Morgan. I don't think I have a guilty pleasure knife. Here, let me show you another one. So this is one that I never carry, never use. But this, but I got a deal on it, and it was still tied for first with the most I've ever spent on a knife. This is a Greg Lightfoot Element. This is designed by dag nabbit. Oh, okay. It's made by Greg Lightfoot and Vander. Sorry, I'm having a senior moment. I had them both on the show. But after I had Lightfoot on the show, he offered, I asked if he could make me a knife kind of a little bit more in his old tradition, because his knives that he makes now are exquisite. They're very expensive and exquisitely materialed, like serious Damascus next to serious bolster, next to serious handle material, next to like all these different patterns, beautiful stuff, but not in my collecting wheelhouse necessarily, and definitely not in my budget. So I beseeched him to do something under the radar for me, and he made this old school tactical version, is how he called it, of the Element. And this thing is a chunky beast. I mean, this is I think it's 0.8 inches thick. I mean, it's very, very thick, and it's got non-weight relieved liners of titanium that are the size of most liner locks. Here, let's do this. Yeah, the liners are about the same size as the slabs on this Mekong Delta combat folder, which is no shrinking violet here. So I love the recurved Tonto shape. This thing has incredible action. It's on bearings, and that big heavy blade makes it very, very smooth. Keith says, gentlemen, work comes early. I'm hitting the bed. Have a great night. Keith, you have a wonderful evening, sir. Get lots of restorative sleep. Dream well, and hit it hard in the morning. Have a good night, sir. Thanks for joining us. Top Dog 8762 says, now that we have a definition, the Boker Plus XXL Bowie Kalishnikov Auto. Funny you should mention that, Top Dog, because that was my third one that I was going to mention in my guilty pleasure. This was a gift to me Just like the first one, just like the XL Espada, a gift. But even if it weren't a gift, it would be something I would get for myself and really have no use for except for the mere appreciation. Yeah, I like this thing a lot. Kong and Bases. Good to have you here, Kong and Bases. The Espada is on my guilty pleasure list. All right, you got to tell me what bass you play and what's on your guilty pleasure for basses. I used to play bass a lot. Now I noodle, but I'm trying to identify. It looks kind of like a Music Man from here, but I can't tell from your little picture. Let me know what bass you play. Oh, what do we have here? Wait, but that's a okay. So that's a Shirogorov, but oh wait, Kevin John T95 Shirogorov style titanium. I am confused. I'm confused. Is this a Shirogorov that he takes and makes special, or is he ripping it off? I don't know. I'm kind of confused. Daryl Ralph Design AXD Expendables folder. Oh, that's awesome. I've always wanted one of those. I was just thinking of him earlier. He's no longer with us. He after he came on the show, he sent me and Jim both these really cool brass pens. And I mean, they're heavy, brass or bronze, actually. I'm not even sure what they're made of, but really cool. He was a very nice guy. I think he was somewhat maligned. I'm not sure why or how. But in my experience, he was a very nice guy. And he designed that Expendables folder that was just so damn cool. And the line, Jason Statham's line when he deflates the basketball is so cheesy, but it's so perfect. And it just goes. It all goes. 9198 David says, guilty pleasure. Noun 1. Okay, so we got our definition, our dictionary definition here. Something that one enjoys despite feeling that it is not generally held in high regard. E.g., my Strider SMF. Yeah, me too. My Cold Steel 4MAX and Grimsmo Norseman. Interesting, that last choice, the Grimsmo Norseman. I know it's a polarizing design, but isn't everyone kind of agreed that it's an awesome masterpiece? I was under the impression that everyone just sort of accepted the fact that it is great, even if you don't think it looks good, which I do. I like the blade better than the handle in terms of looks. Hero Stick says, guilty pleasure knives. Oh, yeah, that was cool. The Boker Plus Bad Guy slip joint. And probably my full dress J cape. Is that the one that I had too? That you loaned me as well. In as much as I'll never use it to cut anything, just love having it. Yeah, that's the collector in us, you know. Oh, okay. This is the perfect segue. Okay, so he says, I'll never use it to cut anything, but I love to have it. $75 Cold Steel Spartan, I guess. Yes, the Spartan's a great knife. All right, so here's a knife that I attempted to carry today, and I almost walked out the door with it. I said I'm gonna be the one. So this is the knife that Kev of Lefty EDC / Devo Knives loaned me very generously, and said no one else has carried or used it. You know, feel free to, but no one else has. And I was like, then I'm gonna be the guy. And I tried today, and I was like, what if I mess this up? So here it is. It's the Custom Knife Factory Evo, designed by Rotten. Is it Rotten Knives, Rotten Blades, Rotten Design? I'm not sure. Rotten Knives, we'll say. I mean, look at it. It's stunning, stunningly beautiful, and having it in hand really does make the critical difference. When I first saw this knife, I said, "Oh, that looks just like a Strider." And I can disabuse you of that if you're thinking the same thing. I mean, they have some of the general, some similar style cues, the opening hole and the jimping. In general speaking, this kind of, and the way it widens a little bit. But in the absence of a Strider, to me, this reminded me of a Strider. But having them next to each other, they're just very, very different knives. Also, this just feels way better than a Strider. This just works a lot better. There's no lock stick. No, I'm not dissing my Strider, but I have mixed feelings about the knife, and it has nothing to do with Mick Strider or any of that stuff. I just have mixed feelings about Strider knives. Anyway, this is the Evo that I'm talking about, and one of the things that is so impressive is that blade grind. Let's see if I can show you. I'm trying also not to slice open my hand. So Jared Neve did that mirror polished edge, and it's just stunning, sickeningly sharp. I should have gotten here. Let me see if I can. I don't have paper. Okay, it laughs at paper. It's just look at the hollow there. You can kind of see it from that angle. Really nice. Okay, M390 blade steel, really smooth. Great action. Like I can slow roll it with my finger on the lock bar all day long. I don't get any weirdness. It slow rolls really easily, but at the same time, you can pop it out with your thumb. You can reverse flick it all day long. It's just the action on this, the detent is perfect. It's perfect on this for any type of deployment you would expect to use from a hole like that. It's perfect. Usually what I find is that knives that pop open really well with the thumb are hard to slow roll out. And this is just, I don't know. They got it both down. And now I don't know if that's custom knife factory, or I don't know if that's some subtlety in the design here and the pivot and the layout or something. But this thing is just, it's really, if it's not perfect, it'll do until perfect gets here. Let's put it that way. And I love the way it feels in hand, and you don't have to be all the way choked up for it to be comfortable. Whereas I would argue that on an SMF or an SNG, this is not, it's okay. It's okay if you're in a long range duel and you need that sort of, but here's where you want to hold this knife. It just feels more comfortable there. Well, with this Evo, it is comfortable up there, choked up, but it's also extremely comfortable back here. And that's because of this widening out, but also the curve. Here you have a flat surface that you're gripping and pushing. You're pushing against this with your fingers into this point, into your palm. So like that never quite, I like the way it looks and I like the way it feels in reverse grip, but that never quite made sense to me in saber grip in this position. Saber grip up here or choked up here, it's fine. But back here, you're just pushing that point into your palm. With this knife, you have this curved surface here and a more of a curved surface here. So it just fits really right. It just feels really good in this grip, as well as that grip. How is it in reverse grip? It's awesome. I'm not sure why you would use it in reverse grip, because it doesn't have much of a point, not a point that you would want to slam down into that 55-gallon oil drum full of Uzis, because it would break for sure. At least the tip of it would. So no need really to hold this thing in reverse grip, and reverse grip slashing is just something for the movies. So I would say this is a forward grip. Oh my God. And I haven't even gotten to the lock side. It's got this bark texturing in the titanium that is just so appealing, just so good looking to me. That texturing, look at that. Okay, there we go. Focus. And then the clip, I forgot to ask Kev about the clip, but I don't know what that is. What is that? Is that Mokutai? I see like 4 shades of gray swirling around in there. Black to white, and then a number of shades of gray. Just beautiful. This knife, and he was saying, Kevin was saying that he's been sending this around for like a year for all us slack-jawed gawkers to look at, and I think that is so incredibly cool of him. I mean, that's so generous and trusting and cool. And so I'm I think I don't know. I think I want it so badly. I don't know. Maybe I start looking for it. But I know Professor EDC has one or had one. Didn't you have an Evo for a while, or don't you have one? Hello, Professor EDC. Good to have you here. I think I'm obsessed with that knife a little bit. How's everyone doing? We're doing well. How's it going? What's going on? I'm not reading your comment. I'm just sort of approximating your comment. Hello, Professor. Good to have you, man. So yeah, I'm interested. What do you guys think of this Evo? Do you think it looks like a Strider? I'll tell you, it's a way more comfortable in hand than a Strider. Also, it's thinly ground. My Strider, even though my Strider is hollow, it's still a big fat slab. So yeah, that Evo really has it beat on the cutting. I would rather pry with the Strider though. But who pries with folders? Gary says, I have quite a few guilty pleasure knives. One of my favorites is the Olamic Soloist Scout. Cool. So Olamic, sometimes, I really like that Scout. And actually, they just put an ad out, or maybe it was an Instagram post, where they showed all of their models, including some new ones coming out. And I love that Olamic makes nice, big folders. They make 4-inch plus. Some of their folders are 4-inch plus in the blade length, and I love that. And that size gives you a lot of room to really express the lines of your idea and your knife. Plus, I just like larger knives. Sometimes I think they just do too many notes, but on the whole, I have a lot of respect for those knives. I think they're cool. Professor Edie, I got the whippersnapper in hand once, and that thing was amazing, but it's still ugly as sin. But great knife. My God, feels great in hand. Excellent execution. Everything about it, except face only a mother could love. Professor EDC, carrying my Spyderco Southern and Jack Wolf Little Bro and Spyderco Mule Magna Cut. So did you have the Little Bro blade wrap? I did on mine, and I sharpened it once, and most of it's gone. I know another sharpening, like a concerted effort to get rid of it, will be no problem at all. But it was just tiniest little bit of blade wrap. My guilty pleasure is the Marfione Custom DOC Death on Contact. No need for it, and I rarely touch it. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is a cool looking knife. I remember when that came out. I think it was Jim Skelton's review of it. It was funny and really, really good. And the Death on Contact, I just love the name. Jeremy says, my guilty pleasure knife would have to be the Condor Undertaker Bowie. That is a cool Bowie. That's got the traditional coffin-shaped handle with the what is it, 10 nails going around it. Looks so cool. I've kind of had my eye on that. I do remember when I was looking at the Undertaker Bowie that the sheath was really tight. A lot of people were commenting. That is something that I've run into with my Condor knives in the past. Curious if you had that with your Undertaker Bowie. Chris says, my guilty pleasure has to be the Topps Tom Brown tracker because I saw it in a movie. I know what movie you saw it in. The one with Benicio del Toro. What the hell was it called? Escape? No. You're watching the unraveling in live time. It's like The Hunted. It was called The Hunted. See, I still have it. Evo Swooning. Yes. I'm on a pre-order from ages ago and think they're supposed to arrive sometime this fall. Well, then I remember that pre-order. I think we covered it on the show. And I think that one is coming out a little bit larger, right? And they had I think they had 4 different options you could choose from. Oh, God. Shane says the Evo is the sexiest knife ever made, but the Arius is the best knife ever made. Huh. Very interesting. I cannot disagree. Excuse me, I cannot disagree. I'm not exactly sure if I agree, but I can't disagree. And the reason I can't agree is that I haven't the Arius I've only picked up and held twice, and it was at Blade Show when other people were trying to pick it up too. So yeah, I can tell it's pretty awesome, but I don't know if I can go out on that limb yet. Grim Reaper, how you doing, sir? How much does the Evo weigh? Grim is one of our newest patrons, our newest patron. I mentioned him earlier. I wasn't sure if he was with us, though. Let's see. I'm going to guess 4 ounces on the outside. I'm not really. Let's see. Do I do this? 4. It's light. It's lighter than this. This is that Civivi, whatever. Oh, the Civivi Cogent. It feels lighter in the hand than the Civivi Cogent. Now, something I didn't show, which I will do right now, is if you look in here, this marbled carbon fiber has a lot of weight relief pocketing out of there. So, I mean, it's weight relieved on both sides. This thing is super light. Hey, Dirk, how's it going? Totally agree with you, Bob, on the fit of Striders. Yeah, I happen to have a good one that Zelric sold me. So this one hasn't been too bad. But the other Strider I had was atrocious. And I was like, oh, well, that's the old geometry. You need the new. I'm like, what? Come on. Are you good at making locking knives or what? Do I have to wait till you go to geometry? What are we talking about? So, yeah, I'm with you. Dirk, thank you so much for turning me on to oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Paul, to Mr. Harvey. Jeez, oh Pete. It was great talking to him, and so cool to find out, more about him, because those knives are just crazy. Phil Harvey, what I call him, Paul Harvey, who I think is a musician. Anyway, Phil Harvey looked like he could be a musician. He had a cool sort of artist toiling in obscurity look that I've always kind of not emulated, but always thought was cool. FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies says, what was the retail price on the CKF Evo? I have no idea. I think when I was looking at the pre-order that Hero was talking about, I think it was like 800 and something. This I know is well over 1,000. Just because I believe, well, I don't remember why. That clip is special, and it's a Jared Neve edge, and the knife was expensive to begin with. So I'm going with this one is I think over $1,000, I would have to say. But base, I think it's around 850. Blade Boy says, I ended up getting a really good deal on my Daryl Ralph Expendables folder, largest version, right after he passed away. And I jumped on it because I knew prices were going to skyrocket. That was a good move. Hey, is yours tip down only? I know that was always my one reason for not pursuing it, my one excuse that I could write it off with. Some of them had the tip down only. And I always thought that was a missed opportunity and a shame, because of the quillions on that knife seem fully set up to wave it out of your pocket. And that's a big, impressive knife to wave out of your pocket. Just curious. That was a great podcast with Phil. I love that one. Thanks for the shout outs also. Hey, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. And thank you for the good word, kind words. Paul Harvey, and now you know the rest of the story. Oh no. I'm thinking of no. I was gonna sing. I'm not gonna do that either. Just pretend I didn't even do that. Someday in the future, after I die, my girls will go through all these videos, and they'll see some of them, and they'll be like, "Oh God, he's cringy even in death." Cringy. Is that a word that gets used in your household? Cringy. It's so cringe. Dad, that's so cringe. All right. I want to talk about a new giant mouse. Now, this is the smallest giant mouse ever. Okay. I thought that that would be funny. It really isn't, but I love the name Giant Mouse. It's always kind of tickled me. It's a little goofy, and it also seems like a name that comes from someone for whom English is not the first language. And I love it. Giant Mouse. Like like what? And I love their logo too. But they have a new knife out. This thing looks adorable, I gotta say, and the blade looks reminds me a lot of the Pilar. It reminds me a lot of the Pilar, I think 3 or the most recent Pilar, where they sort of stretch the blade out a little bit. But just a beautiful little Warncliffe blade that when it's folded up, it's like a little, just like a little nugget, and it's got a 2-inch blade and comes in 2 different versions. Now you can get this in a uh, anodized aluminum. I think it has a couple of different flavors of anodized aluminum. That's the nibbler. They're calling this the nibbler. And that's in N690 with aluminum, or you can get it with 20 CV and canvas micarta, or full titanium. And then you get the wire deep carry pocket clip and all of that. But yeah, this is a uh, little slip jointy kind of. Actually, I'm not sure if this is a legit slip joint or if this is a double detent. Let me see. Just scanning here. Yeah, well, it says okay. I think this is just a slip joint. That's what it looks like. But pretty cool. I like it. I like this little green one that they have here in the picture. And yeah, I think it's an adorable knife. What can I say? And I don't use that word adorable often. But I like this one a lot, and I do like that blade shape. If I were to get it, I would get the little N690 version, because frankly, I'd rather have on a small, cute little knife like that. I'd rather have a poppy, happy, bright color. Not only because I feel like it matches the content of the thing, but also because if you lose or drop that tiny little knife, and you have a pop in color, it's going to be easier to recover. All right, next up. Now, I talked about this on the midweek supplemental on Wednesday's show. The Synergy it was originally a knife by this guy, Jim O. Young, and he was a bit ahead of his time. This was an integral aluminum button lock in 1999. He came out with this. I remember seeing them anodized red, white, and blue in the ads on the back of like Tactical Knife Magazine or whatever the knife mag I was getting at the time was. And it had an upswept Persian-y blade. Well, We Knives re-licensed the design, I guess, a couple of years ago, and then they spread it into their Civivi line. And so now you can get a Synergy all dressed up and made by We, or a Synergy in more of a budget makeup from Civivi. But that's all backstory for the fact that they have finally come out with a blade shape that I really like. Now, I liked the Tonto blade shape enough, but not enough to buy the knife. And the upswept Persian-y, just not for me. But this is beautiful. This drop point is gorgeous. So they've come out with a new heavily swedged drop point here. And I cannot tell, but it looks like it's hollow ground. And it does not say in the article whether it's hollow ground or not. But I got to say, just looking at that, just looking at how the light is falling on the main bevel there, it is looking a bit hollow, which would be great. Now, you get a lot of hollow ground blades from Civivi. I don't feel like you do get much with We. Am I mistaken about that? In any case, it doesn't matter. They're all on the same team. So if We wants a Civivi style hollow ground blade, they got it. And hopefully that's what this is. Also, hopefully they come out with a version that is larger. I think this is a knife that would benefit from a 3.75 inch version. But until they have that, this is what you get. And this is by far my favorite blade shape so far on the on that particular We, the Synergy. Now, that word Synergy has always been a word that makes me bristle. I just do not like the word synergy. It sounds made up by a focus group. Uh, Shane says giant mouse whippersnapper. Yeah, right. It does kind of look a little bit like a whippersnapper, like a good looking like a whippersnapper with all of the design flaws resolved. How's that? I'm not crazy about the whippersnapper, though. It's great in hand and it's great as a knife. You know what it's intended for, but to my eyes, it is displeasing. FEMA Camp Etiquettes for Dummies says the Giant Mouse Ace Quarta is a nice little flipper. It's a keeper for me. So I've been seeing the Nazca. That one is really, God, every time I see it, it's dazzling. It's beautiful. It's got a beautiful shape, and luckily it's small, so I don't have to get it. Nick EDCer, good to have you here, Nick. Good evening, everyone. He says, same time and place next week, hopefully. Yes, sir. We'll be here again. Same time, next place. Same time, same place, that is. So, let me see. As I look around, I have noticed that recently I have been carrying a lot of, or just taking around with me, taking to work, basically, a lot of budget knives and really enjoying them. And this QSP Penguin is going to help me in that. So this, let's see what else. Say this petrified fish has been getting a lot of airtime. Even something like that, or these are all blue. Look at this, or this. So now, okay, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is I feel like the middle is starting to fall out. I'm liking these under $100 knives quite a bit. And not because of the price, it's just there are a lot of really cool designs that you can get for inexpensive, built very well. So I feel like I'm here, or I'm more in the higher end of things. That's like, those are the two places I want to spend my money right now. For some reason, that mid range is not doing it for me, and not exactly sure why, but things are cyclical, and so I'm in a cycle, and we'll see where it goes. We did have a knife fight planned for the evening, Warncliffe versus Sheepsfoot. That, of course, will wait for another time when I have someone here. I would say things like this. I like the Black Fox knives, Bean Gen 2 Surge design. Yeah, he designed some cool. Those little bean knives are very cool. And he makes some really cool designs, not only in knives, but in watches. Hollywood Tactical says synergy is a scientific term where 1 + 1 = 3, meaning bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. Meaning the result is greater than the sum of its parts. A synergistic effect is where one substance enhances the effects of the others. Okay, that makes sense to me. The first time I ever heard it, I was probably in high school, so in the 80s at some point. And I remember it was a commercial for a local university, and they were using the word synergy, and they kept saying it over and over. And synergy, between faculty and yeah. So, well, leave it to Hollywood Tactical to help. I like knowing actual definitions of words frequently. Well, I used to use a lot of words that I didn't know the definitions of. Luckily, I have people around me who are willing to call me out, and that was great. Bob, I'm stuck in the middle without you. Yeah, all right. Stuck in the middle without you. I'm sorry. That's number 2. I've subjected you twice to a bout of singing. Max says, I don't really have guilty pleasure knives. My most expensive knife, my PM2, cost $231 with all the add-ons. Was my most carried knife of spring 2022. Well, I'm not suggesting you have to have a guilty pleasure, and it might not be something outrageous. If you're someone for whom the knife is a valuable everyday tool more than a collector item, You might have another Spyderco that you don't need, that was as expensive as your main Spyderco, or maybe less, but you know what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is a guilty pleasure might simply mean something that someone a little more practical just doesn't need, and therefore they have it around, but it's extra, and therefore they're guilty about it. Right, exactly. They're saying that synergy of students and faculty together is an exponential benefit rather than just linear. Good word to describe a college campus, but yeah, it can be overused. Yeah, and also it doesn't sound, it's like it's a word that I don't like the sound of. I know a lot of people talk about moist. They don't like the sound of the word moist. Moist doesn't bother me in either sound or meaning, but some words do. Synergy. There are others, and they will pop to mind. United States Space Force Space Bar K Bar. It's stupid, but I love it. Hey, it's just a K bar, Dexter. It's a K bar dressed up, dressed up for the disco. FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies says, so Hinderer knives, wonky detents are synergistic. If they might be because they equal more than the sum of their parts, especially if they result in some sort of emotion. So anything past the buck 110 is a guilty pleasure. I might even say the buck 110 is overly locky. Maybe you don't even need all of that locking technology in there. But no, I mean, Shane, it's got to be everyone's definition. This is a guilty pleasure because I would only ever use it in the most dire of situations. So guilty pleasure, because we know that's not the person I am. I am not out getting in knife fights, thank God. Even though I'm sure that's my reputation all around town. Oh, man, he's just such a street fighting man. Blame Dexter. I feel the same way about Space Force knives, but I'm going to add one to the collection. I can't resist. I think it'd be cool to get a I was just on Smoky Mountain Knife Works looking at the Manticore X recurve that I cannot get sent to Virginia. Hopefully they get the memo, and on July 1st, if it hasn't sold, I can still buy it. But anyway, I was on Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I always check out the flash sale. They always have 8 to 10 items that are on a deeper discount for the next 24 hours. And I always just check in to see what they have there. And today they had something that I almost bought, but then I was like, come on. And then that's where that stopped. But what it was a mini K-bar, a 5.5-inch bladed K-bar. It's the whole thing except shrunk down. And I've always wanted one. I like them. It's like the size of a SOG seal pup, basically. But it's in K-bar. It's a K-bar. It's got all the same construction and everything. And that would have been a guilty pleasure knife, simply because is there any knife I need less than a mini K-bar right now? Probably not. Lawrence Schmidt, good to have you here, Lawrence. My favorite guilty pleasure knife is my Microtech Combat Troodon with a double eagle. I also have a few XL cold steels. Those XL cold steels I have justified many times. But what's the double eagle? Is that the eagle claw, and then the eagle claw on the blade and the handle, or something like that? Hero says, my buck 110 is my primary outside on the property folder. I just put thumb studs on it. Whole different deal. Love it. I have those thumb studs here on my 112, and it really does make it a different knife. It also adds, what's up? Good to have you here, Knife Sergeant. It also adds a place to put your thumb to press against. Guys, I'm sure you already do, but if you don't follow Knife Sergeant, you got to check him out. He's one of these maven guys, and by that I mean a maven is someone who spreads new information, and I always need people like that in my life. And he's how I found out about the Mekong Delta Combat folder from Resco Instruments. I know it stuck in his craw that it wasn't American made, and it did to me for a while, but this thing is so awesome, and I love Best Tech anyway. So yeah, NAF Sergeant has a really nice collection and great taste in knives, and always a good Always a good review, so check him out for sure. Shane says, isn't the mini K-bar a pilot's knife? No, I mean, it's not, the pilot's knife was a separate thing. It had the saw blade on the back. It had a stouter. I never met a pilot's blade that was sharp too. I back in the 80s, those 80s and 90s, when those were easy to get. You could get those at surplus places or Bud K or whatever. But you always had to manage to put your own edge on it, and they were hard. It's that Crovan 1095, and they have the stacked leather handles, but they had an octagonal pommel or hexagonal. I'm not sure, but it was an octagon or a hexagon, but it was thick. I mean, like a hammering thing, and that a hammering pommel, much more so than on the K-bar, and it had that saw. So you could saw your way out of a plastic canopy, if your Huey went down. So a little bit different. Actually, it would be cool to get one of those pilot's knives just to have, because that was my best friend Mike when we were growing up. That was his favorite knife out of his collection. He had some cool knives. He had that camo Gerber Mark II that was very rare. But anyway, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, just as Jim has put up that little lower third. That's something I forget to mention, but why not bring it up? Yeah, but I think there is room in the collection for a mini K-bar. Certainly wouldn't mind it. But if I also plan on getting a Space Force K-bar, may as well kind of kill two birds with one stone and see if I can get a mini in the Space Force dress. Hero Stick says, not a guilty pleasure, but a pleasant surprise. I recently bought the Blade HQ Sage 5 lightweight in mint and black FRN. I can't put it down. That sounds great. I remember when that came out. I love the Sage. I love the Sage series, and that goofy FRN color. I guess it's to sort of emulate the Sage that they normally do with G10 on their exclusives. Blade Boy says, my guilty pleasure was an exclusive Kershaw Blur in S30V when almost all my knives were coming from Big Five. Were coming from Big Five at the time, and I never spent more than $50 on a blade, so it doesn't matter how much. Oh yeah, yes. So Big Five, I take it, is like a big box store where you're from. Yeah, I mean a Blur in S30V, if you're used to something much lesser, man, that's a luxury knife. That's a great knife. That's a great knife, and you can de-assist that, and it sort of has a detent. It has a very weak detent, but you can de-assist it. Another pilot's knife is or was the Falkniven F1. Those are cool. I love Falknivens. I was just lurking around blade forums, and someone was selling, Swedish Air Force. So I like the sheaths on those, big square affair. Someone was selling a Falkniven with their stacked leather handle, big Bowie knife. I think they call it the Odin. Oh, man, such a nice looking knife. Mitch Bolig, Microtech Stitch, never carried it, but I pull it out anytime I need a laugh. Thanks always for Thursday Night Knives Live. Well, thank you, Mitch. I appreciate that super chat very much, sir. And I'm going to salute you with one of the fine blades I see before me, all of which are guilty pleasures, I must admit. All right, so this one is my brother made this sheath. He does beautiful stuff when he decides to do leather work. But he made the sheath for I didn't like the Kydex that Douglas made for this, but this is Douglas Esposito's attention to detail mercantile medium folder bayonet grind, and I had him double edge it. You have copper liners, crowned spine, awesome jimping, and tortoise shell. This knife is really sweet. I frequently kind of forget this is S35V, and I frequently forget how awesome this is because it's a little bit too big for me to carry on a daily basis. But I think I need to keep this by the bed. Hollow ground, super sharp, wicked looking, and classy. Like you, Mitch. Thank you, Mitch. Much appreciated. Here's your salute, sir. That's to you. Oh, yeah. Alrighty, sir. I thank you very much. Made my night. Picked up a minty NATO strap for my Vostok diver to roll with the Sage 5. That sounds that's awesome. You're getting matchy, hero. I love the NATO straps. Recently, I actually purged all my NATOs, not all of them, but on a couple of my things and put the bracelets back on. You know how it is. What are we defining a guilty pleasure knife as? Well, I have a couple here. Like for me, the XL Cold Steel Espada at 7.5 inches of hollow ground Aus 8, something I don't need but love. Will never get rid of. This a Greg Lightfoot custom knife that is giant, and I just never ever carry it, but I will never get rid of it, and it's more money than I need tied up in a knife. But guilty on any level that brings you guilt. I don't know. I'm Catholic, so I mean, I can conjure it up in many different angles. Of course, you had him double edge it, Bob. Well, if the option is there, and he was like, I have to ask you again. Do you want me to double edge it? I'm like, I will tell you again. Put that edge on. Keep going. I didn't say that. Of course, Douglas could kick my ass. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu like 100 times over. So I said, yes, sir. I would like a double edge, sir. And he gave me one. Man, I love that thing. Someone last week brought up S&W Metalworks. This is the S&W Metalworks knife I got at Blade Show last year. It was a little impulse buy, walked by, struck up a conversation with the guy, and ended up walking away with this beautiful purple little knife. This is another one I forget. I mean, I have so many knives, man. This is another one I forget I have because this is in my slip joint drawer. And the only slip joints I've been carrying recently are the Jack Wolf knives. But this construction is interesting because it's just a folded over piece of metal that creates the frame. And it's thick and it's heavy, but it's substantial. Naf says, I guess for me, my guilty pleasure knife would need to be the Midgard's Messer Thunrar XXXL. XXXL. Yes. So I don't know about that knife in particular, but I experienced the Midgard's Messer, the very first one that came out, and I was like, man, I wish someone would just give this to me, because in that case, I could never get rid of it and I would always have it. But there's no way on earth I'm buying this. But I really want to own it. So I wish someone would just give it to me. You ever have a thought like that? Like, I do, and it's kind of ridiculous. Whoa. K Mason, sorry to ask you to get up again. You don't gotta. Would you show that Wakizashi up behind you real quick? Yeah, sure. Yeah, for $9.99 I will. No, thank you, K Mason. I really appreciate that super chat. Let me get it down. Hang on one sec. All right. All right, this thing is pretty cool. My wife got this for me at an antique place in New York. This paracord is mine. I had to figure out a way to hang it. I did that a long time ago. I probably would do it differently now. But excuse me. You've got a green ray skin. I'll show it here. I do have a knife cam. Okay, so you have green ray skin under there, and you've got that wrap. This came undone, and I don't quite know how to fix it. So, yeah, that's green ray skin. You've got this bronze cap, and this is all love themed. Well, you've got flowers, whatever I guess those are cherry blossoms, and then this comes out. It's very difficult to come out. I'm not going to pull it out right now, but this is a little knife in here. But before I pull out the blade, let me show you this scandalous little tidbit here. Right here, this little thing, it's a little thing that cordage goes under, if you catch my drift. There's a little hole under there, and it goes under. But basically, that's the two-backed beast there. That is a man and a woman in passionate embrace, hot, sweet love being made right here on this sheath. And I love that. I got to say, I I love that little detail. It's something that I discovered while scrutinizing this, and I was like, that's really cool. So the sheath is all this polished ray skin as well over the wood. Here's the blade. Very, very nice. It looks like someone at some point tried sword fighting with it and slammed. There's a nick in the blade somewhere. I can't remember where it is now. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's still very sharp. It's got a nice polish on it. It's got that medial ridge down the spine. It's been hard to do over the years. It's been kind of hard doing research on this. I don't know what the real origin is. The Suba is very nice, nicely sculpted with sort of a tree and lily theme, and just I love this thing. So a symbol of our early love in our courtship. She bought this for me, and I was like, this lady is a keeper. K Mason, you too are a keeper, sir. Thank you so much for that super chat, and thanks for getting me to pull down the wakizashi. I will give you a salute, sir. She's a beaut. That's for you, K Mason. Thank you, sir. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Look at that thing. This thing is awesome. I love this. This used to be on the bedroom wall for years, and then I just had a vision of this hanging over where it is now. So I'm glad I did that. All right. California is on CPM. Oh, is on fire. Ooh, I hope not. All right, guys. That does it for me. Oh, wait, Naf, I actually made alternate scales for it a couple. Oh, you did. You made alternate scales for it a couple of days ago. Ooh, well, I'd love to see that, man. I didn't know that you were handy in that capacity. You and I, Naf, we have to reconnoiter and figure out a good time because I'd love to have you on. Alrighty, sir, and everyone else. I want to thank you all for joining Knife Junkie Thursday Night Knives tonight. And as always, it was a blast. This is one of those nights out of the year, God damn, I can't talk. One of the days out of the week that I look forward to the most because it's Thursday. I love Thursday night, always have. And I know that I'm going to be here hanging out with you guys. And I know that you're here and we're all just looking to have fun and have knives and escape from all the other talk. And the funny thing is oftentimes before we start rolling here, I'll be just absentmindedly listening to my news podcasts and getting kind of quietly infuriated. And then I turn that off and turn this on, and all that stuff melts away because of you guys and gals. So thank you so much for coming and watching. Be sure to watch on Sunday, episode 328 of the Knife Junkie podcast. We have Sean Human of Bone Daddy Blade Works, and he comes on with his wife and child for a little while. That was fun. And then they take off, and we talk all about the Axis, this really cool. That you can see my eyes through there. This really cool hand axe that you can mount on a haft. You've seen the video I made. So it's the ultimate survival tool, of a caveman interpreted through a modern caveman. Really awesome. So Sean Human, I thought it was interesting. I did a show with Sean Human, and it was produced by Jim Person. So it was a fully a Homo sapien cast that day, cast and crew, and some Kama Sutra action. I'm not sure what you were referring to, sir, but that is a different show. 9198 David says, I need more swords in my life. Yes, obviously. I've been waiting for you to come to that realization on your own. Now, hopefully everyone else does too. By the way, don't forget about pole arms, spears, and axes, and those kind of things. Professor EDC says, oh my God, it's gorgeous. And I love the details on that wakizashi. Yes. I do too, especially the man and the woman in embracing on the sheet. That's so random, but just kind of cool. Thanks, Bob and Jim. Take care, everyone. K Mason, thank you, sir. I really appreciate the super chat, but also just the chat. Thanks for coming and talking. Thank you, everyone, for coming in and participating. It's so much fun to talk to you guys. Have a great night, Sinister Knife. Great to see you. Keep up the awesome work. Good luck with that handle. Excuse me. 9198 David, have a great night. Thanks. Thank you, David. You have an awesome night too. Thank you for all your support. It's much appreciated. JN, as always, a pleasure. Keep those comments coming. I think you've had 2 of my favorite comments on the recent supplementals. So keep them coming. And everyone else, keep them coming. And thanks as always, Jim, says Sinister Knife. Yes, sir. Thank you, Jim. Heck yeah. Love the show and wait for it all week. Oh, man. Love you. Love you. Thank you, guys. All right. Thanks, everyone, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher. Shane, as always, love you, man. Take care. Chris, take it easy. Peace out. And until next time, Hero. Good to see you, Hero. Until next time, I'm Bob saying for Jim working his magic. Until next time, don't take dull for an answer.